B here, but in Studio C, the media is gathered to hear from Dave Rose for his live press conference as we prepare for the 2012-13 season. Let's send it over to Studio C for that press conference with BYU head coach Dave Rose.
Well, thanks for coming. We're excited for another season. I think that this time of year is always really exciting for our players. I think probably for me the comment that I have to make today is that I feel that our players are prepared for practice on Friday. It's a long off season. And you put so much faith in your players and their work ethic and how they're going to prepare to be ready. And we had a short workout on Monday, and I like our guys. I like the way they look physically, mentally. I like the way that they've prepared with our coaching staff. And I look forward to Friday. Friday at 7 p.m. we'll get started with a 2-hour practice. And then we'll practice again on Saturday, take Sunday off, and then be back on Monday. So I think it's although we've had a lot more contact with our players in this off season because of the NCAA rule change with allowing us to be with our guys for a couple hours a week with skill development, it's still an exciting time to get that first practice and look forward to how our guys are going to fit together, how this team's going to mesh, how it's going to come together, the leadership that we get from this group. That's the exciting part, because we'll find out here in the next 4 or 5 weeks before we play our first game. But with that said, I will spend the rest of the time answering questions if you have any. Would you please state your name and who you're affiliated with?
Dave, first practice, anybody, any small group or anything that you're particularly excited to see? First practice, how they've developed from the last season?
Well, I think that everybody who's followed our teams over the last few years, will understand from last year's team that we struggled shooting the ball from the perimeter at times. And the group of guys that I'm really excited to see are returning players in that group and the players that we've added in that group, because it's such a big part of the success of our program and how we play. And I think we've added some great newcomers, but I am really excited about the young players that were on our roster last year who got a lot of experience, and to see how the offseason and their preparation will help them as far as this coming year. And so you're always excited to see your front line, your depth of your squad, all those kind of things. But I'm particularly interested to see how well we can consistently shoot the ball over a long period of time.
Tyler's been home about 6 months. How's he looking to you right now?
He looks great. I think that physically he has worked, as hard as anybody we've had as far as returning from a mission to get himself in shape. When you see him, I think you'll. He's had a lot of time. He actually got home in the end of April, and so that's been good for him. I think what Tyler really needs now is, basically what everybody needs, but especially for a guy who's taken a couple years off, is he needs to get into the the routine of every day where you are laying it out there, playing really hard, and then go home and kind of recover, go to school the next day, and then get back in there and do it. I think that one thing about your preparation after a mission is that you kind of work according to how your body feels, and now you're going to have to kind of work according to how the team needs you, and so that will be an adjustment, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
Based off of personnel and knowing that it's just the beginning of this, what do you expect or hope will be the strength of this team?
I hope balance will be the strength. I hope that we have great guard play, really good point guard play, great post play. I think last year we really relied on our two post players to kind of carry us through the majority of the real tough times. And in order to be really good, I think, and more consistent, I believe that the balance needs to be better on this team. And I think our players know it. We've challenged our players with that. We'll have a lot more experience at the point guard position than we did last year, and I expect our point guards to play better. Same with our wing positions, our 2 and 3. And hopefully we can get to, similar performance that we did from our post player. Brandon's back, but Noah's gone. And Noah was a clutch player for us last year. And so if we can get that same kind of consistent post play and then improve our wing play and our point guard play, I think that'll be a good start for us.
Dave, with Chris Collinsworth's retirement, have you decided yet what you'll do with that vacant scholarship?
Well, for the year, it's Chris's. And so, that's a very unfortunate thing for Chris, and we feel, we're just all sad. I mean, he's a great guy, and he's worked really, really hard, and he gave it everything he possibly could. And for some reason, his body wouldn't let him kind of finish what he had set out to do. And so our first line of business with Chris is to get him healthy. He's had surgery, and his ankle will take quite a while to recover from. But for this year, our scholarships have all been committed, and that's the way it'll stand.
You talked about the front court, and last year Brandon and Noah were a great 1-2 punch. With Noah gone now, how important is it that you have another front court player step up in addition to Brandon, kind of take some pressure off of him?
Well, it's really important. It's what I think a lot of players that we have in our program we're really excited about. It's an interesting phenomenon because the coaches are always really disappointed that you lose those great players. You like to have them all come back. The players are really excited about that because it provides someone a new opportunity. And we've got a real, I think, dedicated, hardworking, talented group of post players that are all excited for Noah's 35 minutes a game. He played a lot, and we'll see how that kind of plays out. I usually go into our first day of practice in October with the experienced guys playing together, and by the first week to 10 days, then that kind of changes to where we'll see guys who are actually picking things up, playing the best, and our evaluation after every practice by our coaching staff will continue to kind of switch teams up a little bit, but the experienced group of guys are the guys we kind of give an advantage to early.
Yeah, Coach, you're bringing in 2 junior college transfers. Talk about what you've seen from them and how you see them fitting in with this team.
Well, I think that it's a little bit. It's really difficult to evaluate Raul at this point. The day before school started, fall semester, he dislocated his elbow, and so he's been working through that, and is actually way ahead of schedule what our trainers originally told us, and he's been able to work out with our guys a few times to this point. He's ready to go and believe that he'll be able to go consistently day after day through practice. We'll see how that works. But Raul, we're looking for some real specific things from him, but we haven't really been able to evaluate that yet to this point. I think he could be a great on-ball defender. He's extremely athletic. He's a good shooter. We'll just have to wait and see how he responds, and the way that it's been going to this point, it's very encouraging that he's going to heal and be back to 100% soon. So that's what we hope for. With Augie, he's a guy who's been able to. He wasn't in summer school with some of our players, but he did enroll here the first day of fall. Got his degree, graduated from Salt Lake Community College, and he seems to be fitting in really well quickly. We got him playing specifically right now at the 4 position. We have a lot of our post players that are playing both the 4 and the 5, but he's playing most at the 4 position. And I think that he can stretch the defense. He's a good shooter. Defensively, it take him a little while to pick up our system, but he works hard. He's smart, but he's really willing. He's a willing learner, and I think he's going to be a great addition to us.
Tell us about the off-season recoveries and the health status of Nate Austin and Stephen Rogers right now.
Nate seems to have recovered from his surgery way better than Stephen has. Nate he had the labrum, the torn labrum, and had it repaired, and has been kind of with us full bore now for about 3 weeks in the 2-hour sessions, the 2 hours a week that we've been able to be with our guys. And he's back in the weight room, lifting with the guys. And so I think that at this point, we just kind of think of Nate as fully recovering from his injury and look forward to him, 100%. With Stephen, it's been really difficult for him. He had the torn meniscus, and he had it repaired or operated on it was either December or sometime, I think, and then had another scope to try and get to the point where it wasn't swelling, and he's still having those issues. I think he's doing a little bit better the last week or so, but anytime he goes really hard for a long period of time, the next day, the day after, he experiences some real discomfort and a lot of swelling. And so that's something we're just still trying to work through.
Can you comment on the missionary age requirement change, and then does that have any effect on what you do this season? Redshirts play people more, not as much, knowing that the guys you thought you may have counted on for next year may not be here.
Well, that's a good question, and I think the last couple of days that we have spent a lot of time talking to a lot of our recruits. I don't think it'll have any effect on our current roster, players who have already signed and have played, or players that are obviously serving missions right now that are expected to come home soon and play with us. But it has a lot of effect on the 2013 class, the 14 class, the 15 class that we're involved in. And we actually have some verbal commitments from some of those players. I think for our coaching staff, it will just be a process. What it basically does is it gives every player, every LDS player that signs here that has a desire to serve a mission, another option. Okay, and what we need to do is find out, what exactly they're planning on doing and what they would like to do. My role here as the head coach of BYU is to support their decision, and each individual family will make that decision according to what they think is best for their son. And so we have gone through our scholarship spreadsheet and gone through quite a few scenarios of what could happen and what couldn't happen, and hopefully we'll be able to fit everything in and make it work to how the players would actually like to do that. If we get in some situations where we're squeezed for scholarships and it gets tight, then maybe we can make some adjustments that way. But as far as the announcement itself, I think for the first couple days, it was probably I was more worried about my own family. I have a daughter who's 17. She's a senior at Provo High, and she's always wanted to serve a mission, and it's changed all of her plans. And so I think it's done the same to a lot of families all over the country, and I think that it's exciting. It's exciting to give those young people another option in this whole process.
Dave, just address the upgrade to the Marriott Center, how that's going to affect the team's experience and also the fan experience.
It's beautiful. I mean, I think that I've heard nothing but positive, comments and remarks for people who have actually gone in and sat in the seats. There's the benches, as far as the lower level are gone, and as far as I know that all the seats for the season have actually been sold. The lower level are all sold, so that's exciting. And I think basically it's another option for our season ticket holders. That they have an opportunity to. Some people have been sitting in their seats for 20, 30 years, and they had an option to move to the other side of the arena. The way it actually affects us is that we've actually switched our benches from one side of the arena to the other side. And that's a little bit different. And not that it's going to change the outcome of any game, but it just feels different in the Marriott Center. And we'll need to play a few times, practice a lot of times until that feels, normal. And as far as the new players that come in here, they don't know any different. But I think another huge addition to the Marriott Center was the upgrade of our locker rooms and our training facility and our video equipment room and the coaches' locker rooms for the men and the women's teams. And I think that is really exciting to our players. The players who I think appreciate it the most are the former players and the current players who have actually returned and played. The new guys don't really understand. They just think it's always been like this. But this summer when we had ex-players, Jimmer Fredette and Jackson Emery and Lee Kamard and Trent Playstead, and those guys came through it, and you could really see the excitement on their face because of how the program is actually moving forward and the commitment that the university has to just upgrade the facilities for the current players.
Back to Steven's injury, you said you're still trying to figure things out. Is the concern high enough that he may not play this year?
That's a possibility, yeah.
Can I just ask a follow-up? Just as far as the student fan base, they've been a big part of the success at the Marriott Center. But now with the movement, what do you see as far as their experience now that it's going to be a little different?
Well, that will be different too, as far as the student section. And I'm actually excited for the students because I think that personally they're going to have at least the first 300 or 400 or 500 students are going to have a better seat. They're going to be closer to the action. That group of students that gets the first 3 or 4 rows are going to be right on top of the court. And I believe that will become really prime seating. And so we'll see how they line up and try to get in. But I'm really excited for the options that so many people who come to our games and want to come to our games actually have now. They have courtside seating, which is a great option, but they also have some real comfortable seating behind our bench, the players' benches, and then we'll continue to have the lower chair seating, the upper chair seating, and there's upper bench seating that I think has gone on sale as far as season tickets are concerned. If you want to come to the Marriott Center and see basketball, you can buy a season ticket for a pretty good price and see a lot of really good games.
How do you see the WCC in your second season in the league?
Well, I know one thing, that it is very, very good league, and I'm excited to be in the league. I think that maybe even more excited now than we were a year or two ago because we didn't know really how the league felt and how it was going to actually play out. I think our players this year understand a little bit more about the quality of this league. I really am excited to compete for another year here. I think that one of the real challenges for us is to win a West Coast Conference, regular season championship. That is something that I think we've won 28 or 29 regular season championships in the history of our school, and we need to go, lay it out there and see if we can win one in the West Coast Conference, and it's going to be really difficult. The teams at the top are terrific, and they're not only very good at home. They're really good on the road, and they've been, traditional, powers, national powers as far as Gonzaga is concerned for years, and St. Mary's the last few years. Loyola Marymount is an excellent team with a great group of players returning. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the league. I'm excited for our guys to prepare for that league competition with our preseason schedule. I think our preseason schedule, non-conference schedule, is one of the best that we've had since we've been here, and we look forward to some real challenges.
Dave, could you just talk more about that non-conference schedule and how it came together and whether you're happy
Well,
with it?
we've worked for quite a few years to try to get in a really high-level tournament on the East Coast, and you know we've played in quite a few tournaments here in Las Vegas. We actually had a tournament at our place one year. These exempt tournaments are great for our fans and great for our players because they give us an opportunity to play an extra couple games during the season. And last year we went to Chicago, played Wisconsin and University of Nevada. And this year we're going to New York and have an opportunity to play Florida State and then the winner or loser of the Notre Dame St. Joe's game. And it's been in Madison Square Garden forever, and they moved it this year to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, which we're excited to play in. And it's a great, it's a great event. I mean, Coaches versus Cancer is an organization that I've been associated with for years and years, and just this last year I've been asked to serve on the national board, and so we're excited for that weekend. And we got a couple hard-fought, tough games here, I think, that before we go, but then we'll kind of fly across the country and see what we got. That excites me. I think it excites our players too.
You talked about challenging players in the offseason. What have you tried to get out of Matt Carlino? What's really been important to you for development?
Well, I think with Matt, his role on last year's team kind of really was a little bit outside of the parameters of our normal point guard situation, but I think that he took on so much more of a scoring and outside shooting role because of the inconsistency that we had from our wing positions. Hopefully we can shore up those wing positions and then get Matt more in that typical point guard role of advancing the ball and getting us into offense, attack early in transition, and then when opportunities create itself, he can hit open shots. We want to run a lot more pick and roll. For Matt, that was a little bit difficult for us last year because we didn't run any pick and roll the first part of the season with him on the bench, not being able to participate, and then we bring him in right in mid-season and then try to adjust everything. It made it a little bit more difficult. So we've kind of our coach has done a great job of spending time with him and evaluating film and games from last year. I think that consistency is a real issue that he wants to get better at. I mean, he told me in our year-end meeting last year that he says, Coach, I just feel like I was good at times, but I need to be good all the time. And I think that's was a good place to start for him to get himself in better shape. But he, Jason, that experience of 1 year from a player who thinks they know what it's going to be like to where they've actually experienced it and then they have time to work on their game, I expect a lot of improvement in that time because that's just how it's proven over the years that players really make a lot of improvement from their first year to their second year because they understand a little bit more going into it and they have that time to prepare for what they know is going to happen instead of what they anticipate might happen.
You mentioned the inconsistent shooting. What did you and the staff do in the offseason to address that issue, to correct it for this coming season?
Mostly repetition. Challenge the guys to get shots up, to get in the gym. I think we understand where we want to get our shots from, and we understand what's a good shot and what's maybe a little bit of an ill-advised shot. Our guys know that. What we need to do is we need to just be more confident and more prepared. And when it's time for us to hit an open shot, we need to make it. And I think you can do that in a lot of ways, but when you're preparing, you just do it by repetition. Consistency, get yourself in the gym and get shots up and do it over and over again in the confines of the shots that you're going to get in a game. And I think our guys have done a great job. I think another thing you can do to help the shooting is to increase your talent level. Bring in guys who are going to challenge each other And that's what I'm excited about. I think we've got new guys in with real ability to be able to push the guys who are returning, and then them to be able to just see how it fits, see how we all work together.
Can you describe Raul as a playing personality, maybe just as a personality in general, but especially on the floor?
He is a excitable player. I think he's a guy who fans are going to really enjoy watching play. He's extremely athletic. He's great, got great lateral quickness. He's fast. He's got a variety of ways in which he scores. He's a good driver, good finisher. But what he's really improved his game over the past 2 years in junior college is his three-point shooting. I mean, he comes in here with a great resume as a three-point shooter for the 2 years he played at Western Nebraska.
Anything else? Last one.
I just wanted to ask about, you touched on this, but the NCAA rule change, what type of an impact did you see that having? Do you think it's going to have as far as what you were able to do during the offseason?
Well, it's as far as our coaching staff is concerned, it's one of they change a lot of rules every year, but this is one of the best that we've experienced. The opportunity to be with our players during July, during August, those summer semester, and then actually even during the spring semester when our guys were here. And so 2 hours a week maybe doesn't seem like much, but if you work it out for 30 minutes, that's 4 days a week. If you go 45 minutes, you can see them 3 days a week. I mean, it's a great. And when you go from zero opportunities on the floor to 2 hours a week, it's exciting. And I think that the best thing for our players is that they do all the work and they put all the time in. But now our coaches can actually spend time with them in that process instead of just our strength and conditioning coach. I think it kind of increases the urgency of the players to prepare because they're with their coaches. They know they're going to see their coaches, and I think that's a great thing.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
We're going to bring players in. Just going to want to spread out. Dave Rose just finished with the press conference there. Just a couple of notes that stuck out. He supports the missionary decisions that young men will make. New missionary age, 18, he can go straight out of high school. He thought about his own family, a 17-year-old daughter he referenced, more affected by that than actually the players. And then it'll give them another option. They can come play a year or not. But they've mapped it all out for now. And then in terms of the non-conference schedule, he said one of the best that we've seen since he's been there here at BYU. So with that in mind, let's show you the schedule with all the broadcast games that we know, including for the first time all the games on BYUtv. So let's start with first the Cougar tip-off is October. It'll be Wednesday, October 24th. That's going to be on BYUtvSports.com. Then the 26th and 3rd, you have exhibitions, both of those on BYUtv, Southeast Oklahoma State and Findlay. The season opener and the first game of the Coaches vs. Cancer Classic is November 9th on BYUtv as well. November 13th, Georgia State, right here on BYUtv. True TV will have the two games from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn versus Florida State and Notre Dame or St. Joseph's, followed up with a game on BYUtv against Texas San Antonio. 31 regular season games, by the way, 17 of them on BYUtv, plus the two exhibitions and the Cougar tip-off. November 24th, Cal State Northridge on BYUtv. Then Montana, that's live from Salt Lake City at Energy Solutions Arena on November 28th. That's on BYUtv. December 1st is one of 6 games to be determined. All the home games are either on BYUtv or an ESPN channel, but the road games are still up in the air. Utah State and Utah on BYUtv. At Weber State, another one of those to be determined. December 18th, Eastern New Mexico here on BYUtv. We get closer to Christmas at Baylor. That's an ESPN2 game. The 27th against Northern Arizona, returning the trip from a neutral game in Flagstaff last season on BYUtv. ESPNU will broadcast the Energy Solutions Arena game versus Virginia Tech on the 29th. West Coast Conference play starts right here on BYU TV against Loyola Marymount at San Francisco, one of those 6 to be determined. Pepperdine on BYU TV at Santa Clara, still to be determined January 12th. Then after that, January 16th, ESPNU will be in the house. That's a late start, 9 Mountain local time, 11 Eastern for St. Mary's on the U. January 19th, San Diego on BYU TV, at Gonzaga's on ESPN2, at Portland's on the U, at Pepperdine still to be determined. Santa Clara is a BYU TV game, at San Diego to be determined. San Francisco and Portland wrap it up for us in the regular season. Then at St. Mary's, home to Gonzaga, both on ESPN2, and then at Loyola Marymount on ESPNU. And you see the West Coast Conference Championships, ESPN will have that on the U2 and I believe the regular channel. So some still to be determined. But let's go back to Studio C. Robbie Bullough is with Nate Austin.
A little while, but I think the doctors and the physical therapists did a good job with helping me along, and so it was a good process, and I'm ready to go.
Talk about the Marriott Center upgrade and the way things are set up now, new facilities for you guys as well as for the fans.
Well, it's, it looks great. We have a new locker room. We have new blue seats in the Marriott Center, and just it looks really good. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it's definitely passed my expectations. I think it's with the guys that came before, and how hard they worked and how well they did. They were able to kind of set a foundation and able to with I guess getting money and fans here, we were able to just make the Marriott Center a better place, a newer place, and the updates and the new additions look really good.
How much extra workload are you expecting this season?
I think each year you expect a little bit more and more. I think going to last year I wasn't sure what to expect, so hopefully this year a little bit more of the loads on my shoulders a little bit. I got to be able to just to play longer. I can't get in foul trouble this year. Last year I'd go in there and kind of hack away at guys because I could do that. But this year I got to just play a little bit smarter, be able to just do a little bit more of everything this year.
How much are you going to miss the leadership of Noah being around, just as a mentor as well as his presence on the floor?
I'll miss him. I'll miss him a lot. Obviously, coming into last year, I didn't know the offense, didn't know really much anything. So he'd always pull me aside and help me with things, give me pointers here and there. And so it was a big help to have him. And with him gone, it's he'll be missed. But I think I got the ropes down for the most part, and so hopefully I can do it this year.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Today's your birthday.
And that's Nate Austin talking a little bit about his increased role with Noah Hartsock graduated. And as we heard from him earlier today, Torres labrum had surgery in May. Generally takes 4 to 6 months, and so we're in about that period. Should be 100%, Dave Rose said a few moments ago, for Austin, who is expected to have a bigger contribution this year with Hartsock graduated. At this point, you could pencil him in as a starting power forward. We'll go back to Studio C in just a moment as Robbie Bullough and our crew talk to Steven Rogers. Let's go back to Studio C.
Stay out of my knee.
What are you able to do right now?
A lot of times, well, as of late, I've just been doing a lot of rehab, trying to get my quad stronger and just get everything stronger around my knee to help stabilize it. But I'll be able to start playing here again pretty soon and get going.
You even allowed yourself to think of the possibility of not being able to play this year, or is that?
I avoid that thought at all costs. It's been hard not being able to play, but with the coaching staff that we have and the trainers and the medical staff, everybody has been there every step of the way, and everybody's working their hardest to get it back.
So in your mind, the severity of the injury is not to that point yet?
No.
Do you feel it's improving over what it was last year? Has it been getting better? Are you seeing improvement that says this can get better?
Yeah, when I play, there's absolutely no pain in it. It feels great. It's just afterwards, hour or two after practice, it'll swell up like a balloon. So it's just right now we're trying to keep the swelling out of the knee and being able to play on a daily basis.
Have you been trying different things to be able to do that, or what's the process for getting that better?
Well, obviously it involves a lot of ice. Also, just strengthening the muscles around it to stabilize it. Different therapy things that will help. But other than that, the new brace I got is supposed to take a lot of the pressure off the lateral side of my knee. and so hopefully that'll help.
What's your outlook for the whole team with some new guys that came in, getting Tyler back from his mission, for example?
It's great. I mean, it's going to be a fun year. I'm always impressed as the years change. Some guys leave and a bunch of new people will come in. And this year I've noticed how quickly we became a team. The cohesiveness of this team is amazing. Every guy enjoys being around each other. And we're playing really well and we play hard. I mean, every day at practice we come in and go hard, and we're gonna do good this year.
Like you, Chris Collinsworth sat out all last year, and now his career's done. How much do you guys talk? How close are you? Because you're kind of going through the same thing, although you're hoping your career's not done like him.
Yeah, well, it's funny, Chris and Tatum, his wife, they live below me and my wife. So, we've talked, to some great lengths about, injuries and dealing with it. And, it's funny, the first year he was hurt, it was kind of hard to relate to him and what he was going through. And now I feel for the guy a lot, and, best wishes to him. And he's an incredible kid, and he'll be doing great things in life.
You may know better than anybody else then how well Chris is taking this, that he won't play basketball again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we've talked a lot about it, and obviously it's not what he wanted to have happen, but at the same time he's kind of relieved to have a direction to go in and kind of go from there.
Thanks, Stephen.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was senior forward Stephen Rogers a moment ago, mentioning that he expects to start playing soon after that torn meniscus, 2 surgeries the last couple of months. He said he avoids the thought of not playing, as Dave Rose mentioned that is a possibility, that Stephen Rogers does not play today this season. He said there's no pain when he plays, but that it swells 1 to 2 hours afterward like a balloon. So I'm not sure how ready Stephen Rogers is, but we hope he gets ready, the sharpshooter from Mesa. Let's show you once again the Pepperdine game on January 10th is going to be on BYU TV. A moment ago we listed that. Let's just make sure that one is indeed on BYU TV. So every home game for BYU is either on an ESPN or BYU TV. 31 regular season games, 17 on BYU TV. In addition to that, the Cougar tip-off on the 24th of October, just a couple weeks away, on BYUtv Sports.com only, and the 2 exhibitions on the 26th and November 3rd are on BYU TV. So 20 broadcasts on BYU TV. Let's go through the whole thing again if you missed it moments ago. BYU TV on the schedule now. We haven't announced anything until right now, and here it is. Southeast Oklahoma State, Findlay, Tennessee State, Georgia State, all on BYU TV. Those first 2 exhibitions. Then True TV gets Florida State and Notre Dame / St. Joseph's. UT San Antonio on BYU TV. Then you move into later in November. Cal State Northridge on BYU TV. Montana from Salt Lake City and Energy Solutions. At Iowa State, one of 6 games to be determined still for TV broadcasts. Utah State and Utah on BYU TV. At Weber State, to be determined. Eastern New Mexico on our air. Later in December, at Baylor on ESPN2. Northern Arizona on BYU television. December 29th, live from Salt Lake City, the 2nd Energy Solutions Arena game. Virginia Tech on ESPNU out of the ACC. January 3rd starts West Coast Conference play. You can see it on BYU TV. LMU won that game in Provo last year. At San Francisco, to be determined. Pepperdine on BYU television. At Santa Clara, to be determined as we get to the midpoint of January. St. Mary's in the Marriott Center on ESPNU. Late start for that one. All times Eastern, by the way. San Diego on BYU television. The 24th, 26th, and 31st, all road games. 2 of those on an ESPN. At Pepperdine is to be determined. February 2nd on BYU television against the Broncos of Santa Clara. At San Diego, to be determined. And then February 9th and 16th, the final 2 of the final 3 home games for BYU on BYU television. At St. Mary's on ESPN2, Gonzaga on ESPN2, and the regular season finishes at Loyola Marymount on ESPNU. And that rounds out what we know of the 2012-13 schedule. Of course, those 6 games to be determined, though those will be announced a little bit later. Let's go back to Studio C, where Robbie Bullough is with the media with Matt Carlino.
Being solid and limiting my mistakes and making more plays for the team to win. How do you think the experience in the NCAA tournament is going to help prepare you for this season?
Oh, a lot. I mean, get to play against. I mean, we played against two great players in that game, Jay Crowder and Odom, and we're going to be playing against a lot of great players during conference. So just guarding and just being tough and just playing against those caliber teams, I think it really helped a lot of guys on the team, including myself.
Yes, to you. Coach mentioned that you're going to be involved more in the pick and roll this season. Can you explain a little bit more if you guys have been doing off-season workouts or just talking with guys what your role is going to be with other players like Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, last year we were just talking about it actually. It was only I was only going to be there for half season, so we prepared preseason for me not playing. So we didn't work on a lot of pick and roll stuff, and it's weird to just halfway through the year implement something into the offense. So we did start to use it a little bit more at the end of conference, but I look forward to being able to make plays coming off, using the pick and roll a lot, and being able to make plays for all the great players we have on our team.
Do you think that with the focus on improving the outside shooting, that's going to be, like, how is that going to help impact the offense as well?
Oh, huge. It's going to be, I mean, the guys we brought in and just guys working on their shots in the off season, I mean, we went through a slump there during last year where no one could make anything. I don't think we'll be going through that this year, where we just can't throw the ball in the ocean. So just excited to get rolling and, playing with all these good shooters. It's going to make my job a lot easier.
And with the student section moving now behind one of the hoops, what kind of an impact do you think that's going to have during home games?
I mean, I don't know. The students are great. They're going to show up hopefully and be loud, and they're going to be right next to the opposing team's bench. So, I mean, I know we won't have any foul language or foul words for the other team, but it'll probably be. I mean, it's different when you got the other team's crowd in your ear, opposed from being across the whole arena from you. So hopefully it'll be good. I don't really know how that'll play into it. That was my attempt to give you an answer.
What's the biggest improvement you've made personally during the off season?
Just reading ball screens, coming off ball screens. We worked a lot on that. Just a whole bunch of stuff defensively. Just my dialogue with the coaches has been pretty big. We've talked a lot about the terminology that we use. I think we'll be able to communicate a lot better on the floor as a team this year just because of the stuff we've been working on with terminology and working with the coaches like that, and just a whole bunch of stuff.
What are you most excited about?
Just getting ready to play. We have a good schedule coming up. I'm excited about that. I'm just excited to play. I mean, I'm going to get to play my first full season, which it'll be good. I think it'll be a lot better for me to, get in a groove like that. So I'm just excited to get my sophomore season started.
What will be the biggest difference from this year's team compared to last year's team?
I think there'll be I think there'll be a lot of the same because, I mean, we're not going to change. We're up and down style team. But I think it'll help because how well we can shoot the ball. We got guys who can just flat out shoot the ball, and that'll help a lot, especially on me because attacking the middle of the floor and then passing the guys, just they can knock it down is huge.
Okay, Matt Carlino moments ago mentioning that he'll be playing a little more pick and roll. I think playing into his strength a little bit. Matt can shoot it, but very good off the dribble. He and other guys this summer, if you didn't watch some of the web chats, several guys put up 54,000 shots this summer, 500 a day. And Matt saying, I don't think we're going to have the same slump we went through for a couple of games where we couldn't throw it into the ocean. So looking for better guard play from the Cougars this year as well. And he said, we're excited to get it rolling. Speaking of rolling, a guy that likes to throw it down quite a bit, BYU's leading scorer, Brandon Davies, returning from this season. He's in Studio C.
and things like that?
No, we're not really too concerned about that. You know, it's just making positive plays out of it. That's our main concern. And you know, as we become better at it, we'll find even more ways and more times that we'll be able to put that into place.
Brandon, what have you worked on the most during the off season?
Just I think consistency. You know, I've gotten in the gym a lot with Coach Pope, and he's kind of just kind of helped slow things down for me, help me strengthen my strengths, and and also strengthen some of my weaknesses.
Dave Rose talked about maybe more balance this year instead of relying on the two post players. It was you and Noah last year. How does that affect you as a post player? What things can you do to help make that balance?
The balance, it definitely helps. Every team wishes they could do that, and I think we have a great opportunity to do that here now because we have great guards that can score the ball. We can score it inside, and it just relieves that type of burden off of everybody. It just makes the game more simple, and everyone can rely on each other a lot more.
Of the new faces so far this season, who's impressed you?
It's hard to say. Each of these guys, they're great. We have Raul and Corey. They're great. They're great shooters, and Raul's a great defender as well. Good friend of mine. And Augie, he's come in and he's done well. He's watched a lot of film on Noah because that's kind of the role that he's going to be playing on this team. And all these guys are going to do nothing but help us.
How many of your shots this summer were 3-point attempts?
I shot a lot. I can't really count.
But you worked on it.
Yeah, I worked on everything this summer, just trying to become a better player in every aspect of the game.
Okay, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Brandon Davies. Earlier in the day, I said you're 1 for 4 career threes. I'm hoping for at least 2 this year. So we'll see what Brandon provides. And he said he worked on everything. So we'll see if that happens. Well, that wraps it up for us here on the second annual BYU Basketball Media Day. We started at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, or Eastern Time now. It's almost 4:30 Eastern. So close to 6 hours of coverage here. 15 web chats, one with every guy, all 12 scholarship players, and 3 walk-ons. We heard from Dave Rose at the press conference, and we heard from several players in the breakouts there. We also announced 17 games on BYU TV of the 31 regular season games. 6 games still to be determined, all on the road. Stay tuned to BYUCougars.com to learn about that. That'll do it for us. I'm Jerem Jordan. For the rest of our crew, thanks for hanging out with us here on Basketball Media Day on BYUtv Sports.com.